Hi, I'm Calivan, and I'm here with good news for all you fans of turn-based tactical games. It's almost time to take a little holiday from chopping up Advent with your shard gauntlets, and instead have a go at history's #1 baddie, Adolf Hitler. So, reload your trench gun, grab your grenades and sharpen your bayonet, as it's time to look at Classified France 44. Classified is a new turn-based tactical game from Team 17, the studio best known for the Worms franchise. You control a team of commandos dropped into France in the early part of 1944, 65 days before D-Day to be exact. Your job is to liaise with and help organise members of the French resistance, blow stuff up, and generally create as much mischief as possible in order to throw the occupiers into disarray before the upcoming invasion. The characters and missions are very much a work of fiction, but your overall objectives are realistic enough. In the real world, commandos and French resistance fighters did a lot of work in occupied France on the run up to D-Day, sabotaging railroads, blowing up bridges and most notably gathering intelligence. This is not an accurate portrayal of real events, but it is a suitable enough setting for a turn-based tactical game. I downloaded the demo from Steam the other day and spent an hour or two playing around with it, an experience that I enjoyed very much. The first couple of missions are very short and teach you the basics, but after that there's 2 more missions you can do your own way, which gives you a decent chance to get to grips with the game. The basics are very much what you might expect. You've got a strategy layer where you can manage your team's equipment and abilities, as well as spend resources and pick up your next mission. Upon launching a mission, you can pick the members of the squad that you'd like to take with you, and then you arrive on a tactical layer. Once in the mission itself, you can move your squad around the map using cover where appropriate, and attempt to complete the objectives, some of which are optional. You alternate turns with your enemy, with you completing actions with all of your operatives before passing the turn over to your opponent. It uses an action point system that allows you to move and engage with your environment, and an attack generally ends the turn for that particular character. That's just the basics though. Team 17 seem to have put some real thought behind this project, and what they have come up with looks quite impressive. This isn't an XCOM clone with a Second World War costume. It's got its own set of features and functionality that are generally quite interesting. I don't think I've played a game in this genre that's had all of the things I found in the short time I was playing the demo, so rather than go into great detail about everything the game offers, I'm instead going to highlight a few of the features I was not expecting, and then take you through the first non-tutorial mission of the game where we attempt to meet up with a new squad member, the Heavy. So, first things first, morale. This mechanic seems to be an attempt at a solution to the missed shot problem that has plagued many an XCOM playthrough. If you've played these sorts of games before, then you'll understand the issue. There is one enemy left. You've got a full team alive who all have a 90% chance to hit, but they all miss one after another. The enemy takes its turn and wrecks your day. Some people relish this sort of chaos, but many just find it a frustrating and deeply unsatisfying event in any campaign. Team 17 have decided they don't want this sort of thing happening in their story-driven game, so they've made an attempt at a resolution. Every unit has a morale bar that represents its confidence in the current situation. When a unit is the target of a shot, they lose a portion of their morale, even if that shot misses. This includes your own units too, and even comes into effect when you're shooting an enemy that's quite close to a teammate, with the friendly fire chance also reducing the morale of your own comrade. Once a unit has lost 50% of its morale, it's suppressed, halving its action points, reducing its accuracy, and the morale damage it can deal itself. If a unit is reduced to 0 morale, it becomes broken and it's forced to skip its next turn. Units appear to recover a portion of their morale every turn, and the leader of your team has got an ability in which he can use some of his own action points to rally your men and restore some of their lost morale. It's hardly the first game to implement some sort of suppression system, but it's done well in Classified 44. It feels appropriate to the setting and it integrates well with the game style. The second thing that the game provides are more ways to interact with your environment, and this isn't limited to obvious stuff like kicking in doors or shooting exploding barrels. The first mission had me hiding in a bush from an unaware enemy, and then using a medical kit that I found to heal some damage. The third mission expanded on this more, featuring a few MG42 emplacements that I could interact with. It did cost quite a lot of action points to use these emplacements, but it allowed me to hose a large area with bullets, damaging and suppressing all of the enemies in a cone in front of me. It also came with this neat little first person animation which I quite liked. I hope that this game expands on this more, providing an interesting collection of optional items which I can use at my discretion to help me complete my objectives. The last specific feature I want to talk about is mission status, as each mission appears to come with one of 3 different methods of approach: stealth, ambush and assault. In a stealth mission, enemies start unalerted and are generally standing guard or patrolling around an area on a fixed path. If you can stay out of line of sight and move from cover to cover, you can get close to an enemy and then use your knife attack to attempt a stealth kill. If you take care of an enemy this way, while remaining hidden and out of earshot of the other guards, you can continue on unalerted. This means that with the right tactics and a bit of luck, you can potentially complete the entire mission while remaining totally undetected. I enjoyed attempting this sort of thing in XCOM 2 using the Reaper, and I was happy to see this sort of gameplay supported. Ambush missions start just like stealth missions and use the same mechanics, but they have a predetermined limit on how many guards you can take out silently before the stealth mode ends. Once you've hit this number, you are given a special ambush action in which the enemy can't return fire for 1 turn. Once your ambush is complete, the game resorts back to the normal mode of play, the enemies are alerted, and you take normal turns from then on. Assault missions forego any attempt at stealth or ambush and feature the regular style of gameplay. Enemies are on alert, they'll move towards your team and attempt to engage them as normal. These different styles of missions add a nice level of variation to the gameplay and give you a good reason to recruit certain team members or pick specific equipment and abilities that are appropriate for the kind of engagement you're facing. So let's jump into the final mission of the demo and see what we've got. We start on the campaign map view where you can see how long our campaign has left to run and access our loadout and other between mission options. We have 2 operations available, Backlight and Graveyard. They both reward us with the recruitment of a different heavy, but have different item rewards. The first is an ambush mission as we discussed earlier, while the second is an assault, the more standard game mode. Let's pick that one. We're given a briefing in which we can see our objectives and rewards, as well as the difficulty, and then we're allowed to pick the characters we'd like to take with us. We've only got our starting 4 available at this point, so we'll pick them all and then launch the mission. We can see their current level, available stat pools and the equipment they've got, so we know we're bringing the right team. After a short loading screen, we're straight into the mission and it's our turn. There are 5 enemies temptingly placed in front of the machine gun position, so instead of using our own weapon, we grab that and give them a spray. This kills one of them and suppresses a few more, so we move up the rest of the squad and start laying down fire onto the survivors. We get a possible friendly fire warning, so we move our Thompson equipped squaddy up a bit further and then lay a burst of fire into the closest enemy. It misses, but his morale is shot, so he won't be shooting back at us this turn. Our next 2 units have a longer range weapons. They use a lot more action points to fire, but we have a decent chance of hitting, so we take out the next 2 enemies. There is just 1 enemy remaining, who decides to relocate, but our Bren gunner is on Overwatch and chooses to use this to take him out. Firing from Overwatch isn't automatic in Classified. You can choose to ignore the first targets that run in front of your arc and save your shot for more important enemies if you like. After we've killed the first load of enemies, our objectives update and we're giving a warning about reinforcements. We decide to take position behind the sandbags in the centre and we set up our soldiers on Overwatch ready to take on the next wave. We're then introduced to the enemy heavy unit, which has got more health and various other abilities. However, this doesn't present us with too many problems. We use some grenades to get a few easy kills to satisfy the secondary objectives, before flanking the heavies and taking them out using our sidearms. The pistols are very useful backups as you can fire them with a single action point, allowing a lot of movement beforehand, perfect for flanking. They're also pretty useful for when your main weapon is out of ammunition and needs reloading, but you didn't need me to tell you that. Over the next 10 minutes we fight off several more waves of reinforcements, using a combination of Overwatch, precision shooting and a bit of careful flanking. The enemy does get a few shots off at our team, but our leader uses his rally ability to recover their morale, so they don't risk becoming suppressed or broken. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, so thankfully we only need to use it the once. We finish off the mission by lobbing a sticky bomb at the last remaining enemy, sending him to Jesus, and that completes our final objectives. The mission was pretty easy, but it's just the first non-tutorial mission of the game, and to be fair, it was labelled as the lowest level of challenge on the campaign screen, so I don't think we should have expected much more. Overall, I enjoyed it, and I felt like it gave me a good understanding of the mechanics and how everything fits together. Once the mission was complete, I was given a breakdown of the outcome and a summary of my rewards and XP. I was also given the option to either restart the mission or continue the campaign, a nice feature for the completionists among us. This is where the demo ended, which was a shame as I was really keen to continue, but I just think that means the demo's accomplished its objectives. It showed me what the game was like and got me excited about playing the full version. There are a few other things I've not talked about so far, but I think are worth a mention. The interface is suitable and didn't cause me any problems, and the controls were well explained and quick to learn. Graphically, the game is perfectly competent. It's nothing to write home about, but it's nice enough to look at. Everything is easily identifiable, and I really didn't think about it much during my playthrough. The sound design is pretty similar in this regard. The weapon sounds are distinguishable, and the voice responses, while a little hammy, are perfectly fine. One thing that did stand out a little was the soundtrack, which was of an orchestral nature and of pretty high quality, the kind of thing that would fit in well with any film or series of the same setting. The intro music has a nice vocal melody and is quite stirring, and I did leave the opening menu running for a few minutes just to have a listen. Aside from all that, the game does have a few cutscenes. They're in the format of some voiceover with some illustrations being penciled out in front of you as you listen. Stylistically, I think it's quite a good choice. The combination of narration and sketches fits the setting well and seems to be a good way of introducing characters and story elements without dumping half of your development budget on FMV. I found them quite satisfying. So, that's Classified France 44. If the demo is anything to go by, then I've got quite high expectations for the full game and really look forward to its release later in the year. Obviously, a good demo is no guarantee of a good game, but it's a fine start, and if you're interested in these sorts of games, then I highly recommend that you open up the Steam store and give it a go yourself. You might like what you see, so let me know how you get on with it in the comments. I think instead of my usual outro, I'll just let a bit of the main theme play me out. So, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.